Hey everybody, it's Nick and Jay, and we're just returning from the 2019 High Plains Drifter event, which is the second race at High Plains Raceway outside of Denver, Colorado. Now, for the first time in this particular venue, we didn't have crazy weather, whether it was monsoon rains or
giant
windstorms or
hailstorms the size
lightning
of
or whatever.
dogs.
For the first time ever, it was really kind of normal weather.
What was not normal was the scary clown theme of Pistola Alto. They had a scary clown, they had a scary clown on stilts, they had a scary clown on stilts making scary clown squeaky. It was but terrible. Don't do that.
You wanna hit the pinata? We'll get you a good old whack at it.
This being Colorado, there's a lot of real stony ass vape covered Subarus available for sale for Lemons prices. Guru Racing brought one of them. It was full of just router holes in it for snowboard racks and whatever else. That was kind of sweet.
Hella sweet. Brett Holdaway brought a booze barometer replica. I gotta give it a little bit of background. Back in the 50s, there was this coin-operated machine in a lot of bars, and it was a ring, and if you were too drunk, you couldn't maneuver it around the charged wire. It meant you were too drunk to drive. Ha ha ha. It was a hilarious subject back then. Well, needless to say, they don't have those anymore. Brett built a replica. He assured everybody that not only was it functional, but it would not shock the living hell out of you. Well, it turned out Rich Von Snyder learned that wasn't true. He got the crap shocked out of him on this thing. Hours of entertainment. Thank you, Brett.
But terrible Savage Orchid Racing, who are co-workers of Judge Phil's wife, they have previously come to Lemons with a Lucifer the Horse theme, you know, from DIA, of course.
Of course.
They didn't have time to fully retheme the deal, so they decided to do a Babe the Blue Ox theme, which is basically the same thing, except because it was Babe the Blue Ox and not Lucifer, they had to have a way too realistic castration involving an axe, fake blood, and some giant fake steer balls. It was hella disturbing and but terrible.
The margin of victory at the end of this race was 0.035 seconds after 16 hours of racing. Pretty great. The winner was the E36 four-cylinder of So Fast, and they were pretty fast. The narrow second place was the Miata of Orange Crushed. Sometimes racing is interesting. It's rare. This was one of those cases.
Yeah, well, that was the battle for Class A, and at this race, it was a rare occasion where the Class B car won the race. Now, this was the Petrosexuals Racing Cadiata, which has a fastback made out of some kind of industrial trash compactor, which leads them to give the car the name Trashback. This car has a V8 engine swap from a Cadillac. Now, everybody on the internet, how is that $500? And more so, how is that a Class B car? We're going to cover that in a future lemonsworld episode. Stay tuned. Suffice it to say, this is a real bad V8, and Phil just decided, hey, it's a loophole if you want to try to make this work. And these guys have been trying and failing for a long time.
And trying.
Yeah, and so it's not like they haven't paid their dues.
Yeah.
They finally got the thing to work. It won overall. It was well-deserved. And hey, if you want to get a front-wheel drive Eldorado, try to figure out a way to make it work in a Miata, you can probably come to Lemons and get away with no penalty laps. It's a loophole.
Hella sweet drop packet racing. So they listened to the online Honda experts, and their racy-ass Honda motor kept blowing up.
The OHE.
The OHEs, right, exactly, trademark. Their racy-ass B18A1, whatever the hell it is, that kept blowing up. So they got a B20 out of the Honda CR-V.
No shit.
Now, if you go online, this is the utterly reliable, foolproof Honda dominating motor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, did they put it in the car?
Yes!
Did they make it work?
Yes!
Did they dominate?
Yes! Well!
Now, conceivably, they could have, but because Lemons, the computer freaked out, it was delivering the wrong amount of fuel, there was no way to adjust the regulator. Ultimately, they did get the solution, which was you go to the hardware store, you get some ratcheting pliers, and you just keep crimping down the fuel rail till the car kind of runs. I'm not sure if we'd known they were doing that, would we have let them? Well, we didn't know. It worked okay. They did finish the race. They didn't dominate.
Hella sweet was this rookie team with the Camaro IROC Z, bone stock 305, 2700 treadwear Century tires. It ran reasonably well all weekend despite the normal GM maddening
Terribleness.
had a right attitude, and they mostly did well. Hella sweet.
IROC!
Kind of hella sweet and but terrible. Orange Theory Racing. They didn't take our advice. Now, our advice is always V8 converted BMWs always suck. And they do always suck. But these guys gave it a try anyway. Their initial attempt had this incredibly short truck, whole gearbox set up in it and a super tall 440 something rear end. I think their top speed was like 48 miles an hour with this thing at red line in 4th gear. Well, they fixed it this time. They got an incredibly long leg rear end. Now their theoretical top speed is 300 miles an hour, but 1st gear and 2nd gear absolutely are useless.
Yeah,
so,
and coming out of the corners, this thing is like... Hella sweet, the potluck party. HPR is really one of the originators of this Saturday night party trend that is now at a lot of Lemons races across the country. Under Par Racing brought 2 wood-fired pizza ovens, and there were teams making spaghetti, pancakes, burgers, everything you could ever want. I mean, this and Curtis's Barbecue at CMP are really the gold standards of paddock parties, so we look forward to that every time we go.
yeah, and as long as we're talking about that, the life of the paddock party went to Salty Thunder Racing. They got this trophy because first they did a fantastic Corvette C8. Theme on one of their Fieros. That they showed movies in the paddock all night long. They cooked burgers on order for anybody watching movies. They drove burgers around and delivered them. They made gourmet movie popcorn for anybody who wanted. This is the way you throw a paddock party.
The heroic fix went to Britska Racing. This is a BMW E28. In a previous race, these guys are like, we need to be faster, and so Judge Phil, knowing that it was a bad idea, gave them enough residual value to put a turbo, as Phil calls it, made of Chinesium, under the hood of their BMW. The resulting creation, which they call the 528 China Turbo Fart Monster, is pretty awful, as it turns out. The turbo rig has been so troublesome that the team fabricated an empty turbo housing out of one of the many blown-up turbos that they have now in their garage. Then that allows them to switch back to naturally aspirated setup with no welding required.
That's kind of genius, really. Now, the I Got Screwed trophy was combined with the regional Not Dead Last trophy.
Yeah.
There were 2 cars. They were both straight 6 rear-wheel drive vehicles. That is about all they had in common, and they were competing to not be the one DFL. Starts out the Grumpy Cat. They got this 1950 spectacular flathead powered pickup truck. Well, they got up to the front gate, put it in 1st gear, tried to drive in, sheared all the bolts off of their flywheel, spit their ring gear out the side of the vehicle. At the same time, the Doge Car 3.5 BMW, that shows up. They go out, they immediately blow their head gasket and crack their cylinder head, but hey, that's okay, because they have a Ranwin Park spare cylinder head. Yeah, well, they got to bolt that on. Guess what doesn't work? The Ranwin Park cylinder head. It's puking fluid, its car's running on 3 cylinders. So they're fighting with that while Grumpy Cat is trying to tap out all the bolts on his crankshaft and try to fit a new flywheel onto the car. This is going on all weekend long. One of them will get out, they'll get a lap, something else will spectacularly blow up. In the final accounting, the ancient pickup truck got 8 laps and the modern, pretty cheaty BMW got 12. So, BMW, not DFL, Grumpy Cat, they got screwed.
Judge's choice went to the Gun Barrel Cobras and their Toyota Starlet. Now, this is the team that had the Lexus V8 and the Volvo wagon that they had a carburetor intake custom plenum on.
Sure, well proven.
Apparently, the Volvo was not enough car for them, so they went on the internet and got themselves a 58 horsepower Toyota Starlet.
A real race car.
Yeah, and they went around and around and around, and they finished somewhere in the middle. They beat a lot of cars faster than them, and hey, there you go, Judge's choice.
Organizer's choice went to Jan Bon Jovi and the Misfits. This team, they have a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
4G63, no shit!
And one of their drivers is this Dutch guy named Jan, and he didn't want to feel singled out. He didn't want anybody to make a big deal out of him, so everybody on the team took their own Jan character. They had Elton Jan, Jan Bon Jovi, Tuten Yaman, Jan Solo. It was fantastic, and sealing it off, one of their costumes was made out of toilet paper from the bathroom trailer at the track. Well done!
The special award went to Panda Espresso Racing and their BMW. Now, a few years ago, they turned their BMW E30 into a Subaru Brat, and they always do these great Panda-based themes. We've never really given them any recognition for this, so we gave them this time the Better Late Than Never Lifetime Super Awesome Car Build Award. It was long overdue. Well done.
And that brings us to the index of Fluency, the top award. That went to Why Would You Do That Racing? This team, for a while now, they have been running a 1986 Chevette with a giant turbo on its Volvo motor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works great.
Why
well,
would you do that?
It has not worked great for a really long time. It didn't work great this time, but it worked like brilliantly for a Chevette powered by a Volvo with a giant aftermarket turbo on it. It finished 27th overall. They got 200 and something laps. IOE.
That's it for HPR. Here's Lemons in a nutshell.
This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Wait for this.
All aboard for being interrupted while filming your YouTube videos.
Forget the driver meeting round 5, 15. Right here. You must be that one.
Well, hold it up to your crotchal area, and then it's going to be profiled. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Say that again.
A little bit sketchy, a little bit.
Because if you want to describe somebody by several adjectives, trustworthy is one of the ones you'd like to have attached to you, right? It's a good one.
Yeah. Unless you aren't.
I work hard at being trustworthy. So I say I'm going to do something else. So the idea that some tall ass motherfucker looking down at me, I think I can't be trusted. You know. Anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Once the right-thinking people decide how to use genetic screening to determine who has the weird genes, they can send them off to Distended Iguana Asshole, New Mexico, where they put you to work with a cheap snow shovel, scooping radioactive yellow cake tailings from the uranium mine. And you know what you eat when you're done with your hard day scooping those radioactive tailings? Is groats. Gulag grade Vladimir Ilyich Lenin groats.